One small win for Australians. If you're living in the Unley Council, they've decided to reverse their decision to scrap celebrating Australia Day on Australia Day. Hard pill to swallow, I know, lefties, but that will always be Australia Day, January 6th. You can't change a birthday. So these guys decided, no, we're scrapping it. We're not celebrating Australia Day on the 26th of January anymore. It's way too divisive. They passed all the necessary movements and la-di-da-di-da. Then they decided, actually, let's put it to the people, because they heard from so many people saying, hey, we're disgusted by this. I didn't get a say. You're not representing me. And over 60% of the people of Unley said, we want to celebrate Australia Day on January 26th. So they took it back to the council, who overturned their original decision, and they will now once again celebrate Australia Day on Australia Day. But it bears mentioning they only got this up by 2 votes. The vote was 7-5. So clearly 5 councillors were still just like, stuff you people who voted me in. I'm not representing you. I'm representing my own lefty interests. Here's Councillor Rebecca Rogers, who put up the motions. She says, we cannot ask our community for their opinion and then not listen to the result. Tonight's vote, this was on Monday night, is on a consultation process. The community wanted a say and we gave them a say. More of this, please. I mean, this is revelatory. A council actually asking the people that they're representing what they would like and then acting accordingly. More of this, please.
I agree. We should have more of this. But this is Councillor Jack Gaffey from Unley explaining how all of this came to be.
There was a decision on council that we should act and we should lead. And so a decision was made by different councillors that we should do this without consultation. The only problem was that after we'd made that decision, there was a huge number of emails. I had a number of them from residents who felt like they hadn't been heard about the Australia Day celebrations. Ordinary people who go to work, look after their families, and they just expect councils to do right by them. This was the first they actually knew about it, and let me tell you, they're pretty upset.
So the council of its own volition decided that it would move the celebrations from January 26 to January 25. Now, I mean, you could move them to any date. January 25. Let's be a bit more inventive here. But they moved it from January 26 to January 25. Then the residents found out about it and complained to the council. And it was at that point that the council said, maybe we should run some community consultation on this matter. And then the consultation came back and said what we all knew it would say, that we don't want you to move Australia Day, and then they reversed their decision. I thoroughly agree that we should have more community consultation, of which councils take note. But there's something wrong when they make a decision, then have sort of posthumous community consultation. Oh, sorry, we got it wrong. Well, you wouldn't have got it wrong in the first place if A, you weren't meddling in our national day, which ain't the business of councils, and B, you just asked the residents what they thought in the first place.
But it is the business of councils. That's what the federal government decided, because it was like, well, the voice failed, so just by a sneaky little twist of the knife, we're going to leave this up to individual councils. Now World War III's broken out because this council has arbitrarily decided, and this, I mean, it's over 20 councils now.
Yeah.
Last I checked, it's probably way more now. And none of them have community consulted. They've just gone, this is the woke thing to do. And because so many of the councils are full of Greens and Labor members, none of them give it a second thought.
In Victoria, it's more than 40 councils that have now changed their Australia Day celebrations. And Councillor Don Palmer, he actually made the point in the media that it was Anthony Albanese who changed the legislation so that this decision was in the hands of local councils. And he said, and I quote, Albanese should take responsibility and stop handballing decisions to local government that the federal government should be responsible for. And it was one of those decisions where you know what Albo wanted, but he didn't want to have blood on his hands, so he just palmed it off to councils, knowing they would do the dirty work for him. Speaking of the importance of consultation, Caleb, I had to laugh when I read the comments of Indigenous elder Major Mugi Sumner AM. He was very upset that the council will go back to celebrating Australia Day on January 26. He said, and I quote, "Why change it back? To rub salt into a wound, or to say, well, we're going to have it whether you like it or not?" So I thought the point was listening to the majority of people, 60% of whom said, this is what we want. So council have done that, but now he's claiming because he didn't get what he wanted, well, he's not being listened to.
He should go and talk to the Aboriginal ambassador, shouldn't he? He
clearly doesn't understand the democratic process.
A year and might be able to fix that one up.